Hey guys, we'll wait for you guys to come in and check everything out. I'm here with Brent Crawford from Remax Hallmark Realty with the Audrey Azad Group, right? Mm-hmm. Who literally just closed like 4 deals and rushed in the door. Like tonight. That is crazy.
Very grateful.
So we're gonna be talking about Toronto real estate, and of course, last week when I was posting about how crazy everything is, my Facebook blew up, and then a couple of you were like, "Hey, let's do a Facebook Live." Facebook Live. I've had Brent on before, and so we hooked it up. So if you have any questions, please ask us. Of course, Brent is in the GTA, and you can talk a little bit about Hamilton and Guelph and things happening there. Grimsby, Stony Creek, where it is just insane as well. Mm-hmm. So we can go that far, and I know some people from Vancouver that want to chime in as well, because my comment last week was just, I'm like, hey, Kathleen Wynne, stop it. No one's going to be able to afford a home in Toronto anymore. And what would your comment to me be? I can take it. I'm a big girl, Brent. Suck it up.
If you're talking about affordability in Toronto, there's so many factors at play right now. Obviously a massive part of the buying public right now is between 25 and 38 years of age, and they all turn that age at the same time.
Right.
Excuse me. They have the lowest interest rates in decades, and constantly.
Nick Smythe says, "Sell me a house." Oh, Nick, you've been booking a lot of acting deals, so and lots of films, so for sure. And you're an actor too. Anyway, but this has been. It's so many people are, like you said, they're 35 years of age. Mm-hmm. The interest rates are low. And people have been waiting.
Well, we also have the, I think somebody said $750 billion, billion with a B, in inheritance money changing hands in the next 10 years, the largest amount of cash transfer in Canadian history. And we also have, I think, something like 160,000 people per year coming into Ontario, of which 70% of them go to the GTA. So. Right. There's a lot of pressure happening on the market right now, and it's when they say that it's hard to buy something under $1 million, they're not kidding. It's true.
And like you said, with the money being transferred over the next couple of years, everyone's been talking about the boomers, but I call it the Gray Tsunami. When the Gray Tsunami happens, like you said, the money is going to be exchanged. There are going to be more homes on the market, but they're not the largest population. There's another age group, you said, right?
Well, yeah, the 25 to 38, but
right.
The Gray Tsunami, I read an article the other day, and somebody had finally confronted the boogeyman of the foreign investor or the foreign buyer that's apparently driving all of our Canadian prices up. First of all, I'd like to see some numbers about how much of this is actually foreign investment. I hear anywhere from 2% to 15%. That's still nowhere near driving the prices. The Canadians buying property in Toronto and getting help from their parents is that's what's driving the prices.
There's parents with HELOC, home equity lines that they're using, or there's parents that, have paid their houses, let's be honest, were $35,000 probably back in the day. Mm-hmm. I know in my neighborhood, my neighbor who's like, she's 80 years old, pretty nice house, but she bought it for like $15,000, right? So that's amazing.
Yeah, she made 25 cents a month, but
back in the day, right? So how much of it is it actually foreign investment when you look at your group and who you're dealing with? You come from a large office, you've been doing this for 34 years. How much of it is it actually foreign investment?
Well, first of all, in the area that I work in mostly, which is the GTA, or let's say even Toronto East, we would be saying, how many people from out of the country are buying the houses? If we do, tonight we did 11 offers on one of the properties, and I couldn't see that any more than, actually I couldn't really identify any one of them as being foreign buyers. Right. Now, having said that, are there Canadian-born, a segment of the population that's Canadian-born that has foreign parents that live in other countries that are helping them? Yeah, probably. For sure, and that's a tough number to measure, but the truth of the matter is that's the same thing as happening with young Canadians being helped by their parents. Right. And I think if we look at the numbers, I'm a little bit, they're trying right now thinking that if you increase the amount of tax that you charge on somebody who flips a property or something like
Right,
that.
and the capital gains and things like that for investment properties.
I mean, I just don't see. I think they're going at the wrong segment of the market, thinking that it's going to cool it enough that young people can buy homes. That's what this is about, is trying to make it so that young people can buy a house in Toronto. That's what the issue is.
And Natalie just commented, she's like, do you think this market will plateau? And there has been economists that are saying, like, in the next 24 months, and not saying in 24 months, within 24 months, this could plateau.
Well, Natalie, you know, it's a great question, and this is all I can say about it. If we look at this based on a supply and demand issue, nothing's going to be plateauing in 24 months. My concern is that the government is going to step in one form or another through regulations, extra taxes, maybe, you know, I don't know how that works with the interest rates and the banks and the government relationship, because I'm definitely not an economist, but if we base it strictly on supply and demand, this could go on for years, but it won't go on for years, in my opinion, because I think it's going to... it could very well hit a bit of a crisis point for young people trying to buy anything. I mean, right now it's tough even. I mean, I saw a condo that 6 months ago sold for $330,000. The identical unit, the next floor up, sold for $430,000. 6 months later, the exact same unit. And those, I mean, I've been doing this for 34 years, and I've seen markets go up, but I've never seen... We've been going straight up since September 1996. And then, you know, after 21 years of going straight up, would you have ever predicted that, oh, by the way, in the first 90 days of 2017, it's going to really go? I mean, that just doesn't, nobody saw that coming.
So, and I mean, I'm pretty good at math at 34 years, so you were doing this in the 80s when the crash happened. And I mean, some people are saying, I don't think it's going to crash, but I think it will plateau. I mean, unless the percent goes up to like 11%, and then guess what? A lot of people are going to be walking away from their homes.
Well, I mean, that's another term. It's a new term that I've heard coming up lately. It's called, somebody's been calling it like a plateau or a soft landing. I've never experienced anything like that. I mean, when a market is in a fever pitch like it is right now and it corrects, it's not gentle on anybody. And I think that if the government is going to introduce measures that's going to intentionally slow the market down, it's going to slow the market down. It will be effective. They're not going to do something that will be gentle. But that's, again, you know, this is all my opinion. I mean, I'm definitely not a policymaker, and I wouldn't be predicting your future on what I'm saying right now, because truthfully, I just don't know. You know?
Heather wants to know, is there any still reasonably priced investment properties in Toronto? And here's the thing, I know so many people now, but I don't want to say there's a panic, but I've even had friends, and you know, I've done investment properties since 1996. That was like, I got out of college, that was like, you know, but I find a lot of my friends and that who have not done investment properties yet are trying to get in. So is there something still reasonably priced in the GTA?
Well, an investment property, I guess, when it gets right down to it, you're all looking at the amount of down payment required to get the rental income to cover the overhead of the property. And if we go by, you know, traditional cap rates, and you know, no, it's all upside down. And
your cash flow is not going to be there.
Well, there is no such thing as cash flow. I mean, the better the location you get. If you want to buy a fourplex in a prime location, you know, and it brings in $6,500 a month, and you pay $2.9 million for it. I mean, it's not, you know,
it'd be great for your kids.
I mean, I guess everything's a good investment because you're borrowing money at 2 3/4 or 3% or whatever you're getting the money for. But remember, as Canadians, we only get 5 years at your mortgage rate. You can play the variable rate game and that, but we're not like Americans where you can lock in a rate for 30 years. So, you know, if you have a 1 or 2% interest rate increase and you have $1.2 million in financing, I mean, that literally can go up, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars a month to carry the exact same property. So do I believe there's still great investments in real estate? Real estate is an excellent investment. It always has been. Just don't be buying something because you think that you're going to see the same return on equity gain that you've seen in the last 5 or 10 years. Don't buy it for that reason. Buy it because you can afford to buy an investment property, and buy it with the intention of the income from the property eliminating the debt on the property so that you finally own land and you own the equity in the land.
Right.
That's the best way to do it. But if you go into this thinking that you're going to see the returns that we've seen in the last 5 or 10 years, you could be in real trouble if you can't afford it.
Why don't you think, and this is from Doris, why don't you think foreign buyers are not being taxed as it's done in BC? And people have fought back and forth about BC, like 15%, if you have money, what's 15% to a foreign buyer? If you're coming in with $1 million to be like, bam, on a house, 15%, Brent? Like, is that, but I mean, why hasn't the government, you think, why have they not introduced it yet?
Well, my actual question is, why did they introduce it? I mean, there was other ways I thought to get around this, and already in the good locations in Vancouver and Victoria, they've already come back, and apparently the markets are starting to go again. But
Right.
it really, they didn't grandfather it. Now they're going back on it and saying, well, actually, sorry, maybe we'll give you a bit of a break on this. And that was, I didn't see that was a good idea at all. If anything,
you don't think it's a good idea for Toronto?
No, it's not a good idea for Toronto. No,
But is it not a good idea for real estate agents?
No,
Because-
hey, the one thing I need to explain about this real estate agent, this is really funny. People think that if you're in real estate agent right now, you must be making a lot of money, but
Right.
people forget. This is like having a car dealership and you've got 4 cars and 60 salespeople. So I'm lucky that because I've been doing it for most of my life,
Yeah.
that I happen to be one of the few that does make a living at it. But the truth of the matter is, real estate agents on the whole in the last 5 years have not had a good go of it.
So some, I would say, some real estate agents are unemployed, right? Because
totally.
if they can't get, if there's only a
If
certain
somebody's not
supply
going
and
to call,
demand.
if somebody's not going to call you in the door to even look at their house, and you can work with a buyer, but every house has 7 offers on it, which means 6 of the agents don't sell a house and 6 of the families don't get a house.
Right.
That's not a rich environment that spreads the wealth by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, in 1993 and 94, where it was much more of an even market, everybody could sell houses. There was lots of activity. It was a good time to buy and a good time to sell. That was a balanced market. This
Right.
is anytime you have an imbalance in the market to this degree, somebody's not going to be doing well.
That's right. So Doris, tell us if we answered your question.
Yeah,
and
sorry,
like,
Doris, I kind of yammered on there. I don't know if I
about the
answered the
foreign
question.
tax.
did I?
Do you think that there should be a foreign tax here in Toronto, like there is in BC? I would like to ask you guys that question. Should there be some type of tax? I know that there's some other countries that don't. If you are not a resident, you weren't born in this country, you're not allowed to buy a home. You can only rent.
Okay, yeah, I guess
That's
so.
crazy.
But I mean,
we have a lot of land.
But here's the problem. Somebody still hasn't really shown me the boogeyman, the foreign buyer. I mean, we're still basing this whole argument on, is it the foreign investor that's driving Canadian real estate prices? I don't buy it. Unless somebody can show me that that's the case,
Right.
then I don't even want to talk about foreign buyer taxes. I don't know where they locked onto that. Now, mind you, I'm not from Richmond, BC, and there's people that say that 60% of the deals were done by foreign buyers offshore.
Right. Richmond, for sure. That
Yeah,
was a big.
so-
There was a lot of deals done.
I
in
mean, I
Richmond,
don't know
BC.
that, but with the GTA, just from a day-to-day experience, I'll tell you, I'm not meeting a lot of foreign buyers. Now, I don't deal in, some of the small, like,
I
a lot
get
of the
it, yeah,
smaller
there's-
condos. I
for
don't.
sure.
That's not a market I know. So now, if you talk to people that do a lot of assignments or new condo construction, they might give you a different opinion.
Right. What about, okay, let's just go back to investments one more time. So you're saying don't rule out investment properties in this market.
Here's what I'm saying. Real estate is always good. Just make sure you can afford it. You can
hang on to it.
You can hang on to it. You have the excess money to be able to do this with, and you can withstand job loss, interest rate increase. The property is in good enough condition. You're not piling all of your money into it. And definitely buy it with the expectation of the property eventually paying for itself and eliminating the debt. So buy it with the intention of equity gain, equity gain through debt elimination as opposed to equity gain through property value increase. Because if you start going at it from that angle, you could be in for a big, big disappointment in the short term. I mean, if everybody says, "Oh, I'm going to buy it and keep it for 30 years," my guess is, I mean, the population of Toronto is expected to be 9 million people
Right.
by 2040. So, I mean, you're probably going to be more than okay.
Right.
But just make sure that you're not. Let's go and buy some more real estate, so we're going to pile on the debt on our house, and then
Right.
maybe we'll get our RSPs and we'll put it all together and we'll grind our eyeballs out. That's just not a good way.
And
to
I think
do
that's.
it.
I think that's what happened. That's what's happening. People, banks are like, "Wow, your house is now worth this much money," and people are like, "Okay, let's take out a HELOC, and now let's buy this property." But you don't want to get in over your head. And being a landlord that is a business, I will say. And I mean, anyway, let's move on. Where's
Great question. Great
I missed the comment, but apparently in South Keswick, I forget because it's scrolling so quickly. But in South Keswick, there are so many foreign buyers. We were just told the bully offers are being made by foreigners, as my good realtor friend has experienced. That's what Dora says. But let's just move on and talk about bully offers. What does that mean? Is that multiple offers, bully offers, like you hear about? Oh, that house down the street, there was a bully offer on it.
Okay, so here's what happens.
Someone coming in making it rain. Do you know what that means, Brent?
No.
They just come in. It's like they're just like
giving
shooting money, just shooting money all over. They got a money machine.
Yeah, okay.
So tell us what a bully offer is.
Okay, so a property comes out on a Thursday, and it says on the bottom of the listing, offers are on Tuesday, March the 28th.
Right.
At 6 p.m., whatever. And on Saturday, an agent phones up the listing agent and says, "Look, I have a bully offer for you." And the listing agent goes, "Okay, well, first of all, I'm going to need to see that you have a certified check, see your offer, and then based on whether my seller is interested in that offer or not, we then have to go through the process of notifying anybody who is expressed agent,"
Right.
which is all the people that have shown it. There's a requirement that it be posted online, that there's a bully offer to be presented at such and such a time.
I'm listening. I'm answering questions on here too.
And so anyways, at that point, they present it to the listing agent. Listing agent goes, "Yeah, you know what? We're going to look at this." Well, I did a bully offer on a property on a Saturday night and gave them till noon the next day. Offers weren't supposed to be till Monday night. I came forward with my bully offer. Well, on Sunday morning, 4 other offers came through and I lost. So
Really?
I mean, yeah, it's not always a
The bully offer isn't always the best offer either.
No, it's not. And I mean, it depends on if other offers show up. So, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of people will wait till MLS, but I've also seen it where a huge number has come in 2 days prior to the offer date. And the seller has said, "No, I want to wait and see what happens on offer night." And that offer has not come back, and they've sold it for less than what they had on the table on Saturday. So
Andrea just said I had 5. I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off because so we're trying to read your comments, Steve. If you can send your question, okay, great. Again, that would be great because they scroll really quickly on Facebook Live. Andrea had 5 bully offers 6 hours into my house being listed and sold for $110,000 over. She bought the house 14 months ago.
And so, and you just sold it, Andrea?
That's a lottery, Andrea.
She
just sold it, yeah.
Oh, see, I mean, that's great. Way to go.
Steve said, "What is said that over 70% of people's income goes to support mortgage debt?" So, because I guess Steve was talking about there's even homes in Owen Sound and Kellyanne's on there. So in the Grey Bruce area, I know it's going crazy. Collingwood's been quite insane for a while though. And then if you move over, there's Collingwood, there's Thornbury, there's a town called Meaford, then there's Owen Sound. And that little area.
I'm sorry, I got confused with the 70%
so
debt
wrote
and
70,
then these
so
towns.
he was talking about the 70% debt, and then he's saying there's homes being sold in Owen Sound for like $200,000, and I guess they were like cheaper. I'm not sure.
So
$200,000 for a dump in Grey Bruce.
Okay, so that sounds like two different thoughts. So
yes.
70% mortgage debt. Are you talking about that a $200,000 house has a $140,000 mortgage in it? Or are you saying that the owner of this property is spending 70% of their income towards their mortgage debt? Because that you're really, banks look at about 30 or 32%.
And Steve's a mortgage broker, so yes.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Okay.
So ask Steve.
So Steve's the one that's telling us the question. So Steve, we want to know, is it 70% of debt overall, or 70% of your pay is going to your house? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
All right. Do you think bully offers are for people that are looking and buying right now? Bully offers, that's the way to go?
Well, yeah.
You had bully
You know
offers
what? I
tonight?
mean, we do a lot of it because it's, you know what? You might not necessarily get the best price for it, but what you will get is a better shot at getting the house you want. I mean, that's really, in this circumstance, that's really about the real advantage I can see of bullying, is that you can get a better chance of getting the house you want, but you're not going to get a better chance of necessarily getting, you know, a better price. That's for sure. You know, the term bully really means you're telling the seller of the house that my offer is so strong that you need to forego waiting for multiple offer night that you, Mr. Seller, have set for Tuesday night. So in order for somebody to forego that possibility of opportunity, your offer has to be extremely strong.
Steve came back and said 70% of people's income in Toronto. That's what he meant.
Oh my God, that's it. Yeah, that would be. Those people shouldn't own real estate, or they won't for long. That kind of debt.
Kellyanne's what's happening in front of my house and me for, oh, okay. She's just talking about dilapidated houses, which we can talk about dilapidated houses here in Hamilton, in Oshawa. They're selling, and Heather was commenting, people are tearing them down. And again, where are they getting the rest of this money? They're buying homes for $500,000 to $1 million and then putting up another home. Like, this is unheard of. And everyone, you know, that's what everyone's talking about at the bank, at the grocery store, going, can you believe so-and-so just sold their house for blah, and they're tearing it down and they're building a McMansion. I call it a McMansion.
Well, I mean, I guess the bottom line is, it's what we've been talking about. Money is really inexpensive, but then again, you know what? If you put it towards the cost of living or against the cost of living, somebody told me that it equates to the same as around 11.25% in 1989. So if you can do that sort of extrapolation,
right?
It's beyond my mental capacity, but somehow
it's right
now. So money is relatively cheap,
right?
And people, their incomes, they can sign for a lot of debt. And lending institutions are lending a lot of money out to a lot of people, and there's a lot of money in Toronto. So it's. I think
one of the economists had said that even someone making like over $200,000, or just $200,000. Hang on, let me click that. Someone making $200,000 can only afford a $995,000 home. There's no home like that in Toronto. They're all over.
Wait, let's do that math. So 30 is $66,000 a year divided by 12, $5,000. Yeah, they can afford about $1.1 million in financing, and then their down payment. So they can afford about a $1.4 million house if they had 20% down.
Depending if they have the 20%.
They have to, or they're not going to lend you the money. As a matter of fact, that you're not going to get CMHC or high ratio financing over $1 million purchase now. Anyways, they shut that one down. I mean,
so what about for people that are like saying, okay, should I cash out now? Because I mean, I've talked to a handful of people that are asking, which that's how we started this conversation. Should I stay or should I go?
Okay, here's the simple answer. If you can make a living and you don't need to be in the GTA, and you've just made $200,000 in equity in 90 or 120 days.
No capital gains.
The truth of the matter is, there will probably never be another 120-day period in our lives where we're going to be rewarded with that kind of after-tax profit. If you're in a situation where you're going, you know what, thank you, I'll take that profit, and you can make a living, either renting a smaller place because you don't need the space, or you can live in the country. A lot of people are moving to smaller towns. I mean,
but the smaller towns are just getting as crazy.
Yeah,
now I'm talking like a country girl. Yeah, they're just getting a little crazy there.
They're getting crazy, but I mean, I was just showing houses in Puslinch and Guelph, and getting crazy.
You've gone to Dundas in Hamilton.
Well, no, that's more expensive.
That's
getting pricey. But I'm talking about these smaller towns. Yeah, they're getting multiple offers, but don't forget the purchase prices are still $400, $450.
So I mean, if you're selling Puslinch, and moving on, how could you live in a town?
You can't. I'm not getting. I think
There is a town called
Puss Lynch is a beautiful name, and I don't know.
There is a town called Macon, Georgia, and they had Macon, Georgia, like Macon. So anyway, moving on. Let's ask another question. There's some question. Oh wait, I'm here. Heather says I'm hearing about people selling their home to foreign buyers. Then the foreign buyers are renting them out. I do see a lot of for lease signs, Brent. I'm not going to lie. And in my neighborhood, in different neighborhoods where...
But that has nothing to do... I know a lot of not foreign buyers that buy your house and then rent it out. I mean, it's, again, this foreign buyer thing. Somebody needs to show me the numbers here, because I'll tell you, I'm in the field every day.
Right.
And I'm not seeing these wafts of people with buckets of cash from other countries that are buying all the land. Now, maybe that's true, but I'm just personally not experiencing. Is it a portion of it? Yeah, it is a portion of it. But it's not the bulk of what's driving the prices in the GTA, in my opinion.
The present owner then rents from the foreign buyer.
Oh, yeah, well, that's
I've heard about that.
I've heard about that.
Tanya has a question.
Tanya.
It's more I think Steve can answer that question. Who's on our chat about mortgages? She's asking, paying almost $2,700 a month for mortgage here. This is a low income home. Does this sound right to you?
It's a low income home.
So probably. I think so, Tanya. I think I would talk to a mortgage broker about that to see how much. Maybe you can cut it down.
Well, I just didn't understand the question. So say it. I can actually answer.
She's paying almost $2,700 a month for a mortgage. This is a low income home. Does that sound right to you? But I don't know how much.
Yeah, we I wouldn't, Tanya, I wouldn't want to ask you what you're earning and all that on a public entity. But if you want to call me, you can go at brentcrawford.com, rifle your answer through to me, and I'll be happy to discuss it with you, help you out.
Okay, I think if you guys have any more questions, I have a couple more things, and then we can wrap it up. And then, and this is awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. Tanya says her house is with Habitat. So talk to Brent about that, and then
shoot me an email.
We've talked about investment properties. I'm trying to think. We've talked about multiple offers. Here's the other thing. I find some other people, and we've had this conversation before. They see the market. They're like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing money that I can make as a real estate agent. I should just take my course right now. I put in my 4 to 6 months, or how long does it take? I don't know, and get my whatever fast track and get my real estate license. Is it worth it for a newbie in this market? Like you said, you've been doing this for 34 years, and there's a lot of people that are not employable right now because it's supply and demand.
You know what? I think that it's like any industry, and the one thing that I think we all loved about the 80s and 90s is that things just seemed to be easier.
I know. I love school back then.
I loved grade school. It seemed to be more. That's right. It just seemed to be, like globalization is a part of this too. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's all, and a lot of major corporations and big companies have gone to contract work, and they've cut down hours for people, and real estate agents now you have to be heavily invested in this to do well at it. So of course that's affected them. The entertainment industry, I mean, if you've talked to people in crew and the actors and performers, there's less opportunity for them as well. So I mean, I think that pretty much is it could be just a result of globalization in general. So if you want to be a real estate agent, you know what? You can absolutely do well at this job, but you need to work your face off 15 hours a day for the first year. Right. As long as you know that.
It's not like do a couple open houses and have a cheese tray in your Thursday or your Tuesday open house with your free wine. Although I've been to those, and
you can't do that anymore because a real estate agent was charged with serving wine at an open house. Because you know what happened?
I did not know this.
No, 2 real estate agents drove off drunk and drove into each other. And somebody else served wine and cheese, and they had a kid that was allergic to the cheese. So you can't serve food to the public. And
no wonder I haven't been to an open house in a while, so that's probably why.
You don't want to die.
No, I don't want to die. All right, thank you guys for watching. And
thank you so much for all your input, everyone. That's amazing.
So, and if you can get a hold of Brent, if you have any questions, Brent, how can we get a hold of you? And I'll put your links up there too.
Email me at brent@brentcrawford.com, and I'd be happy to take a shot at any question you have about anything real estate related.
Excellent. And again, thank you guys so much for watching, and have yourself a great night. And Doris, thanks, Doris.
Well, what did Doris say?
Okay, wait, Doris is writing, commission rates seem to be high in a high market where houses basically sell themselves and within a few days in some cases. What are your thoughts on 1% realty?
I think that there's commission structures for everything to do. I think 1% realty for somebody that has their house prepped and they are in maybe marketing and sales themselves. I mean, we had one guy who was the head of marketing for an advertising agency. He basically knew a lot of stuff. He didn't know the ins and outs of the laws, so you have to get a good real estate lawyer. I think there's lots of great opportunities in all different commission structures. If you have a good agent that'll charge you 1%, then go for it. Absolutely.
Okay, great. And you know what? We'll keep the conversation going. Brent will be online for another 15 minutes, and we can keep the conversation going online if you have any questions. But thank you so much, guys, for watching, and have yourself a great night. I liked how you waved like that.
Yeah.
It's actually weird. Don't do that.
Yeah, sorry.